What's going on, workforce? Brian and Chris here, and today we're jumping into everything that you want to know for patch 6.2, our predictions for the next live letter, our predictions for the date of the patch. But before we do that, I do want to kind of highlight something going on with the community. If you guys haven't seen and been following Pyro, he has put out a GoFundMe. I'm not going to go into the details, but if you guys want to go check that out and give him some support, that would mean the world to us. These kind of things, life can get in the way and it can really hit hard sometimes. So be sure to go and check that out. I'll have a link in the description for you guys if you're interested and you're able to kind of help out with what's going on. But that aside, like, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but I did want to highlight that at the start of this video. Chris, we've got patch 6.2. In fact, we got not just 6.2, but we got some artwork for 6.2. And the beautiful thing about the site is it does tell us everything, again, that's coming in the update itself. So do you want to kind of talk a little bit about like some dates that we've got? Like, we just, as before recording this, you were kind of bringing up the beautiful spreadsheet, breaking down the numbers. When do you think the next live letter date is, and when do you think the patch will be?
So I originally predicted the date for the next patch, the 9th of August, and I was basing that on counting out number of Tuesdays since 6.1 went live. But when they talked about it being at the end of it, and then they gave us a Moogle Tombstone event, and then they gave us the first live letter, that really started like knocking that into perspective. I believe it's on the 23rd. They have not confirmed that. I believe it's on the 23rd. Just for kind of comparisons, they did say the patches were going to be a little slower moving forward, and we knew that. 6.1 was 130 days after the launch of Endwalker after early access. And this puts it 133 days after 6.1. It's not uncommon for 0.1s to be a little bit off in the timing, so it's interesting to see those are so close. But the Tombstone severity, the Moogle Tombstone events are almost exactly always 29 days out from a patch. And if they're not, it's usually a patch that we either believe was delayed internally or they confirmed was delayed. So that tells us that the 23rd looks really good. And that means that the second live letter is traditionally 11 days prior. So we always call it 2 weeks before because we think in weeks, but it's that Friday, the 2 weeks before. So 11 days prior is when we'd expect that. So assuming it's a Friday live letter, they're not all Fridays. I believe it'll be on the 12th, which you have a big stream planned to do a New World fishing event. So we'll be excited on the 12th. We'll be excited on the 23rd. Remember that Savage got kicked out a week, and so the Savage race would be looking to kick off on the 30th.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how that personally feels. It's not gonna impact us as much. But what is going to, I think, impact us as much as what's coming into 6.25. So now, while the site will continue to be updated as they draw closer and closer to 6.2, this does give everybody and give us the opportunity to kind of go back through and remind you guys of all what is going to be dropping in patch 6.2 and 6.25. And the thing that stands out to me, and maybe this is, I misunderstood, I heard a wrong translation, but you can see here there is designations for what's coming in 6.2 and what is coming in 6.25. And that's where, like, the first thing that stood out to me is Island Sanctuary. Now, I see chat asking about what's up with these new dungeons, Criterion and the variety. Those are actually scheduled for 6.25. And for those of you who don't know, these are, the first one is a dungeon that you can do between 1 and 4. Yeah, it's scalable. It's going to be flexible. You can go in and challenge it solo if you want. But then there's Savage, which is the Criterion versions. So we're finally getting that hard 4-man content in which you kind of have two phases. The first kind of version of it is going to be where you get limited revives. Anybody can revive. You got a set number of revives. You use them, you're done. In the Savage mode, no revives. And this is starting to feel like it's building off of, obviously, like Deliverum, that like the raid series in which that you kind of had like twice you're out, thrice you're out. So some ways of kind of like rewarding you for doing mechanics, and at the same time kind of like, well, you didn't do the mechanic. There's no heal. You're not mad at the healer because they can't keep you up. It's not a damage kind of thing. What do you think, Chris?
Any of you that have done Fractals in Guild Wars 2 or Mythic Plus in World of Warcraft or any other mode like that, in the variety of games that have supported these kind of challenge mode dungeons, the Criterion dungeons also have a timer where the enemies are going to get basically the echo if you take too long. So there is going to be this desire to do it once, do it right. And so those are going to be pre-made parties, a lot like Deliverum Savage, as opposed to the variant dungeons are like a choose your own adventure trust dungeon. Sildine, for anybody that doesn't know, is the long lost sister nation to Ul'dah. No love lost there necessarily, a rival nation. And we find out about it basically really only in ARR is where it's referenced. And so it's referenced within the Hildy quests. If you want to do those, it's referenced within MSQ. And I think there's one other place, but it's not a lot of references. So I know there's been people like Eorzean Archives and stuff who have been looking into that. So go over there, check out people like Syndotic Scribe. And if they don't have something out on the Sildine, ask for it, because I'm sure they can put some of that knowledge for you together. Really cool stuff that we're going there. I think the shocking thing here is not that these were in the half patch. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think this is really well laid out for us. I did not think Island Sanctuary would make it into main patch. I thought it would be half patch.
I thought that's what they stated. And so the fact that it's not listed here as 6.25, I hope that it now comes in 6.2, just because if it doesn't, and then it hits 62.25, like then it's like, oh, but the fact that if it's not listed here,
it makes sense to be in 6.2 if it's ready. Because the half patch has variant, criterion, and relic. And so there's lots of side content. And so that really leaves people with that don't want to do Savage, and the normal raids are worth doing once or twice but aren't really their thing, with very little to just kind of linger in for the 2 months between August 23rd and 6.25. And so they end up having to kick it out. Like, you're like, oh, the 23rd is not far. Oh, what I want's in the half patch.
Right. And that's what we see time and time again, no matter what. Like every point X patch, there's things that people are looking in the .X5 patch. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just always want to.
Deep Dungeon might be the half patch of 6.3, and so they'll announce it in the 6.3 live letter, and then we won't get it until 2 months after 6.3 drops.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I'd like to know your thoughts, chat's thoughts, everybody in the comments thoughts. Like, if this is 6.2, that would actually, in my mind, set up the next live letter to highlight that piece of content, which in my mind is actually the best thing, because we can finally, they've shown off like a small picture, they've bullet pointed it, but that means that we could actually see them step into Island Sanctuary, show us off the systems. So meaning the 12th, I think, will give us a good vision of that. Obviously, if this is still true and holding itself out, as best as it can. Go ahead,
Brian. How many live letters do you think we get before a 0.3 patch? This is something weird when I just went back and tracked all 71 live letters.
Well, I mean, outside of any kind of special event, typically E3 can kind of throw that off. So not factoring in that, I would literally just say typically we get two per cycle, where then as it jumps into after the 0.2, the next live letter would focus in on the 0.5 and also then start pointing to what's 0.3, and then you kind of get in that cycle. But is it like 2.5? What am I missing here?
So back in 1.0, everything was chaos. Going in Heaven's Word, we got 3 of them because one was at E3. So we had a live letter at E3, and we had live letter 14 and 15, or in A Realm Reborn. In Heaven's Word, we had the UI interview, and then we had live letter 29 and 30. And so that was a full live letter. And so we had another one there. By the time we were in Stormblood, that's when we had our Eureka showcase. So when you talk about it, Island Sanctuary, not only could we theoretically get a live letter on Island Sanctuary, we could get a live letter that focuses solely on things like Criterion, live letter, all of this side content that we've gotten. We could get a third live letter going into 6.3.
It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised.
Especially because we're looking down the barrel at what are they going to do with the anniversary stream. Those don't always fall on exactly the same day. And so when does that come out? And what does that mean? So the anniversary is in its time again. So
yeah, it's August.
Come around like once a year.
You got the Moonfire Fair, then you got the Rising event, you got the anniversary. August is usually jam packed. As we celebrate, look forward to the next 10 years. It's freaking wild. The fact that we're finally like the Criterion and the Variant Dungeons as 2 different pieces of content has me the most excited. Obviously, looking at this at 6.25. As we get into it, new Unreal Trial, obviously main scenario visions are still being refined. Dungeons and stuff like that are being added into the single player stuff. We're getting the funny thing here is that it doesn't, unless I'm just, my dyslexic brain sometimes really kicks me in the face sometimes. But I'm not seeing the fact that Rival Wings is coming back, and that's happening with 6.2, and that's not listed here. So we still have lots to kind of unpack there. Maybe that's a 6.25 kind of thing. So this isn't fully all encompassing of what they've already announced. And so this is exciting. The official release of adventure plates. Note that your adventure plates that you've created will be yeeted into the void, so don't get attached to them too much.
Because they're getting better.
Right.
Oh, just like many betas. Just like many betas, they're realizing, hey, these should really work a lot closer to the Glamour Plate linking system. And in order to do that, we would have to toss all of your existing screenshots into the void that are tied to your adventure plates so that we can move to this better system.
Exactly. So lots to be excited about, lots to look forward to. August, I think, is going to be a really good month. And then if you start to kind of think about the 2 months after August, that kind of puts us into late October for the time frame, and that gets us to the Halloween event, hopefully coming in Halloween. I know that they were really shooting for that. Obviously, like, you know, that kind of worked out of it, but I'd like it to be back in the season.
There was something fun. I know it's Brian's favorite, but there was something fun about it being in the spring because they got to poke fun at it in the quest, and that year in the winter event, we got to put away, accidentally put out Halloween decorations. Like, we don't know how these got out. It's like nobody used them earlier or something like that.
Yeah.
There was like a little throwaway line of kind of like poking fun at it. So even when things don't go to plan, this game has found a way to make that enjoyable. The Omicrons coming in, they are gathering, right?
Yeah.
Or crafting.
Gathering.
Gathering.
Yeah.
I think they said gathering. And so it's not a combat, which I think is really interesting to kind of see that shift for the Omicrons. So this is all very, very good. New crafting, which also always means like new gathering nodes and things like that. It's basically the gear reset. So for a lot of people that have they've been looking for something to do, this is when your gear treadmill takes one more ratchet and you get an opportunity to either stay where you're at or have more catch-up gear or chase that new best in slot.
Yeah, and that, you know, when you start to think about that best in slot kind of time frame, this is going to give you at least 8 months before the next best in slot gear gets released, etc. So that's going to be something. It's going to get easier as you get to 6.3, and so then here in, of course, 8 months when 6.4, that's when they'll finish off the raid, the new raid scenario for Pandemonium. So that's going to be really exciting to see. And also, if you guys are considering returning, let's say you're on a break, just be aware that the relic weapons are going to be tied behind Hildebrand. So if you do come back, you will have until 0.6.25 before that kicks off. So if you're a little bit behind on any of the Hildebrand quest line, yeah, you still have time to get that done without having to kind of feel like a rush or pressure. But that's something that is coming up. All in all, like, 6.2 looks like a really, really solid patch. I think more of the things that I'm excited about personally are the 6.25, pieces of content, but I know a lot of people are excited about Island Sanctuary, and I hope that I get lost in Island Sanctuary. It's a piece of content that it's always kind of interesting when a piece of content comes out that I'm like, that's not really my thing. And then it's all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's everything I was looking for. I didn't even recognize that, that I would be excited about it, but there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. And that, from a timing perspective, I think that hits everything I wanted to share in this video. Do you got any other things you want to add?
The relic quest there was labeled as Manderville weapons. So one more guess tossed into the void. Do you think they're joke weapons, or do you think they're going to be the traditional, serious, kind of very cool looking?
I think they're going to be cool.
Pans, or are we glowing?
I could see that we get a little bit of both. I think that having a relic frying pan style weapon would be freaking cool. So there's definitely a lot of value there to drive, for people. But I think ultimately, even if they start off as a little bit silly, hey, you got Excalibur or something like that, it has the potential to be upgraded. It has the potential to fully, be realized in that regards. However, you never know. You never know. They could do whatever the heck they want. And at the end of the day, the weapons are glamour pieces. So, to have that as an
if my
option.
pig can carry a frying pan, then I have reached my final form.
Right.
And that's how I'll finish 10.0. I just don't see how anything replaces that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And they're like, wow, they came out with this cool weapon. That is cool. Are you going to get it? No.
Yeah.
You
got your hammer that was like a level. I got my hammer. That was like a level 60 something, weapon, and you're like, all right, just
a second hammer, and I don't like it as much as the first hammer.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, let us know what you guys think about any of the content, what you're the most excited about. If you feel like the video earns it, like and subscribe. And if you're new around here, sound off in the comments below, and we can welcome you. We can welcome you here to the channel. Chris, why don't you take us out?
Guys, that's our wild guesses on the Mandarin weapon. So if you're still here at this point, let us know down below whether or not you want a frying pan or an axe, as the two concepts. With each job, do you want the joke or the real one? Let us know down below. We will be here. We will be here a lot, especially as we build into the 12th and the 23rd, and get to go to 6.25 probably mid to late October. So very exciting time for the game. Great time to be here. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Take care.